to the 5th Sunday of Lent, 3rd of April 2022. Looking at a bit of John chapter 12 today, where Jesus has his feet anointed. Before that, the news. We are continuing on. It looks like COVID is going away, so we're doing 2 services at least on a Sunday. Because it's April now, masks are optional. We're going to be opening up the communion rail, and we are hoping that from Easter Sunday, the cup, the bread and the wine will be on offer. We've got a full suite of things we're going to be doing for Easter, including a messy church. And I've always said, when we know that we can do messy church again, we know that the worst of the pandemic has passed. So we live in hope. We live in hope with regards to that. Secondly, with ministry areas, we are, as you should be sick of me telling you, part of the Pedair ministry area. 10 churches grouped together, 5 parishes with loads of potential. 23rd of March in St John's Aberkenfig, the biggest church, the bishop came, there was cake, there was organ, there was singing, it was brilliant. We are officially inaugurated. The ministry area transition team is going to be turned into the ministry area council. That's going to happen at the ministry area annual vestry meeting. Have you kept up with all the acronyms? 28th of April in St David's at 7 o'clock, a ministry area annual vestry meeting. As I say, the people on the ministry area transition team, and we've got room for more. Who wish to be part of the ministry area council will be inaugurated. There's going to be the clergy, there's going to be sort of the officers, church wardens, need a couple of those, need a treasurer, we need a secretary, and up to 10 representatives. So that's all the churches of the former parishes, 10 of those. So is God nudging you to become part of this ministry area council? 28th of April, date for the diary. Pray about it. We want all the gifts and skills. We've also got, for you to sort of dig into, the website where there's a ministry area page if you want to do a little bit more looking. We're coming towards the end of Lent, but the Lent course is still on. And if you've not been to any of the ones that Glenda's running on a Wednesday, you can still dip in, even for the last 1 or 2. We're watching the film based on Stephen Hawking's life and stopping and thinking. Even if you've missed them all, you can still come to the last 1 or 2. Don't be shy. And as ever, we are trying to connect with everybody we possibly can. It's a bit of an impossible task. So, we're in the churches. We're also sort of online like this. We're willing to send out the text of our talks if you want that. Speak to Judy. We're able to visit, phone call, email. If you need us to get in touch with you, please just let us know. Don't be shy, and we will be in touch with you. Back to today then. We are, as I said, in John chapter 12. Fascinating reading this. So I'll read it to you, and then we'll have a little bit of a think, okay? 6 days before Passover, Jesus entered Bethany, where Lazarus, so recently raised from the dead, was living. Lazarus and his sisters invited Jesus to dinner at their home. Martha served. Lazarus was one of those sitting at the table with them. Mary came in with a jar of very expensive aromatic oils, anointed and massaged Jesus' feet, and then wiped them with her hair. The fragrance of the oils filled the house. Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, even then getting ready to betray him, said, "Why wasn't this oil sold and the money given to the poor? It would have easily brought 300 silver pieces." He said this not because he cared 2 cents about the poor, but because he was a thief. He was in charge of the common funds, but also embezzled them. Jesus said, "Let her alone. She's anticipating and honouring the day of my burial. You always have the poor with you. You don't always have me." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Right, here's the thought that goes with that. 6 days before the big festival of Passover, Jesus is having a sleepover at the house of Mary, Martha, and Lazarus in Bethany. Bethany's not far from Jerusalem, where the Passover was going to be. Present, did you notice, is the same Lazarus who was very dead indeed a chapter ago in John's Gospel. But that's another sermon for another day. Today we need to look at Mary's actions. Mary's actions, yeah. Judas's actions. We're going to look at Judas. And then we're going to ask ourselves a Lent question, okay? So that's what we're going to do. It's a dusty place, Bethany, and so it was usual for a servant to wash the guests' smelly feet with water and then dry them with a towel as part of the welcome, okay? Mary, though, doesn't use water, but some very expensive perfume indeed, and then washed Jesus' feet with it. Now, that probably caused a stir, right? A young girl doing the servant's job. Then she gets her hair out to wipe his feet. Now, there's a rule in Jesus' day that says women did not show their hair to men unless married to them. They had to have their heads covered, yeah? Mary doesn't care about convention, uses her flowing locks to dry Jesus' feet. Mary loves Jesus, and we're not talking, as a friend or in a sexual way. She loved Jesus with all of her heart, and she didn't care what anybody thought about. If we ask the question, what was important to Mary, the answer clearly is Jesus and not what other people thought. Judas, then, okay, our other character, objects to the show of affection, but hides his real reason behind economics. This is expensive perfume, says Judas. What we should have done is sold it for a year's wages. Then we could have helped the poor, all the silver pieces. Now, if that was any other disciple, you could take that at face value. But what Judas could see was because the perfume had been used, it could not be sold. Because it could not be sold, there was less money in the common purse. Because there was less money in the common purse, there was less he could steal. John points out he's a thief, this Judas. But he's more than a thief of money. His heart is rotten. And he's trying to steal the beauty of this moment by sort of piping up. If we ask the same question, what is important to Judas? The answer we'd have to come up with is Judas is important to Judas. He didn't really care about anybody else. Sad, isn't it? Jesus puts an end to it all by telling Judas to quietly shut up. Jesus knows what he's dealing with, and he vindicates Mary in front of everybody. Leave her alone, leave her alone. If you've seen Jesus, then you have seen God. And here we see the passion, right? And the heart of God, where somebody puts their faith in God. He will defend them. It's Passion Sunday today. Mary is extravagant, public, and not afraid to go against convention to show what she thinks. Judas is mean and grumpy, steals from the common purse when nobody's looking, and doesn't say what he's really thinking. Yeah, Jesus and God likewise, not stupid, know what is in the heart of both of these characters. Hopefully that made a bit of sense, just the sort of juxtaposition of the two there. I can't just leave it there, can I? Because that's just us looking at a little bit of history. We need to sort of stop now and make us do a bit of work and sort of put ourselves in their places. So the obvious place to end is to ask ourselves, where does our passion lie? Where does our passion lie? Are we more like Mary, or are we more like Judas? Are you more like Mary or more like Judas? Am I more like Mary, more like Judas? I guess we've got a bit of both inside us. Sometimes the love for others surfaces, and on darker days we just think about ourselves. Ask God to show you what you are really like, okay? And if you come across something dark, don't bury it. Just let it come to the surface, yeah? Confess it, deal with it, work at where it's come from, Ask God, And he won't be afraid to sort of like prod you or show you something if you're hiding a bit of dark. Let it come to the surface. Confess it and deal with it, okay? Remember Peter the disciple? He denied Jesus, but Jesus dealt with it. Jesus dealt with it. It wasn't easy. But then Peter, once forgiven, once he'd confessed, once, the relationship was back on good terms, became a chief in establishing the church. Judas, did wrong as well. He didn't confess. He just ran off and killed himself. It didn't have to be like that, Jesus would have forgiven him too. So, Mary, Judas, think about those, but then have a think. Where does your passion lie? Have a think, have a pray, and let me know. Where does your passion lie? Some obvious questions then, 4 obvious questions to take into this week. Number 1, what do you make of the way Mary acts in this snippet? Maybe you know a little bit about the history of Jesus' time. What do you make of the way that Mary acts in this snippet? I told you it was a bit woohoo. Number 2, what do you make of the way Judas acts in this snippet? Some people got a soft spot for Judas, but unfortunately, I think he was a bit rotten. What do you make of the way Judas acts? Number 3, what do you make of the way that Jesus acts? Bang, he's come straight in there. Leave her alone. What do you make of the way Jesus acts in this snippet? He can be quite forceful when he wants to be. And number 4, it's just that question again, really. Where does your passion lie? What makes you tick? What are you on fire for? We need to know about these things, to help us work out where God may want us to be, what God may want us to do. Where does your passion lie? Question 4. As for today's song, Jesus, who is our Saviour, tells us that we are his friends and part of the family, so sort of brothers and sisters, That's an amazing truth. He just wants church goers, he wants people to be part of the family, wants us to be his friends. That's what Jesus coming was all about, Let us sing about this amazing truth. Hillsong Worship and the band Delirious, they got together and they sung the song, What a Friend I've Found. What a Friend I Found. A bit of a little one, this. I'll tag it on at the end. For us, for today, this Passion Sunday, let's pause and let's say a prayer together. Here we go. Dear God, thank you that Jesus came to show us that the intention was that we become friends and part of your family. As we grasp that reality, help us to become more like Mary and less like Judas. Amen. 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 All right, everybody. Keep an eye on social media. Keep an eye on those rotors. We are hoping that we're going to go right into Easter now. Loads of things going on. Then coming through the other side of Easter, ministry area, annual vestry meeting. Really cementing, this ministry area. Lots of good things happening. So keep in touch, and we'll see you Sunday with all the things that are going on.
What a friend I found, closer than a brother. I have felt your touch, more intimate than lovers. Jesus, Jesus, friend forever. Jesus, 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 friend forever. Jesus, oh Jesus, love you, Lord. Jesus, Jesus, friend forever. Yeah, yeah, Let's go for voices, sing about the King. Hey, sing it. So beautiful. You're so wonderful. So I love you, Jesus. Yeah, you're so beautiful. Sing, Jesus. You're my friend forever. You're my friend forever.